One. And we are live. Buenas tardes. Welcome to Queer Wednesday Wisdom. Me llamo Doctora Lulu. Yes, I'm a real doctor, so stop asking. Today's another episode of Queer Wednesday Wisdom. And today I'm joined by the sage, King Jaffe Jofer himself. Yes. Oh my God. Paul Ladipo. Listen, y'all, we'll be eating jollof rice in the background, okay? So, Paul, thank you so much for being here today. And I want to use this opportunity to apologize to everyone else who's been my guest the last 3 weeks. I have canceled on them because I have been multitasking and not remembering, but not with Paul because Paul remembered. So, Paul, thank you so much for being here today, my darling. Welcome to Queer Wednesday Wisdom. Let's get right to it.
All
So,
right.
let me increase the volume. I think that's what I do. I want to increase the volume and I mute. That's what it is. So, Paul, tell us a little bit about yourself and why did you decide to come on this show with this random loud-mouthed doctor?
Yeah, I guess for me, I'm a passionate for diversity, equity, inclusion, and ending injustice with racism, sexism, homophobia, you name it. And so, I started out as an academic advisor, and my students would tell me about the discrimination they faced. And so, and I don't want to say I stopped caring about their grades, but I really wanted to pay attention to the injustice they were facing. It interested me more to talk about racism or homophobia or transphobia than to take chemistry 123 next semester. And so I just and I know that's important for our students, but for me, like looking at the injustices they were facing in white, rural, conservative Kansas, that just caught my eye and my attention. And so I did a shift. And I never looked back.
Let me tell you, I love that. I love that we're starting off right off the bat with just kind of punches because that's exactly what I did. I told Dr. Joseph Moye on his show today, I said, I just was done writing penicillin, which I call it penicillin medicine. I was just done writing penicillin prescriptions for strep throat.
Yeah.
While I was trying to get the kids to feel better, but when they leave my office, their parents are yelling at them. The church is yelling at them. They are being bullied at school for being Black or being an immigrant, having an accent, being queer. I was like, you know what? We have enough doctors writing prescriptions. I'm going to go over here.
Yes.
And I'm going to holler at these people for a minute and see what's going on. And I never looked back. And it's been about a year and some change, actually 2 years now and some change. And I don't plan on going back. I took a humongous paycheck cut to the point that sometimes I'm like, did you just do that?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anybody that goes from 300 plus to less than 75, but I was like, you know what I'm doing is just that much more important. So I'm gonna roll with it. So thank you so much for wanting to do that. And yes, if we might even talk about that for a minute, the truth is, yes, it's not math and it's not algebra and it's not chemistry, but just like mental health is part of your whole body health, you can fix my physical all you want.
Yeah.
If my mental is not coming along, then we're not really talking about it. And if so, same thing with you. You can teach them math all you want if they don't have a roof over their head when they leave your classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I mean, yeah, I can tell them. I can set them up for graduate school. I can tell them here's what we need to do. But if while they're in school they're being discriminated against, and if when they graduate they're being discriminated against, then we can give them the tools to get to graduate school. But if we don't take away the barriers that they'll face while in graduate school or afterwards, then we're setting them up for a lot of problems. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to leave talking about math and chemistry to somebody else. I'm going to talk about other things. So
I mean, yeah, because they're not going to. Let's face it, they're not going to graduate. My biggest war is against youth suicide.
Yeah.
The fact that the word youth means the child is age 14 to 34. That's when they graduate from anywhere. They're not going to graduate if they take their own lives. They're not going to graduate if they drop out of school. They're not going to graduate if, all of the ifs, if they find a gun. They're not going to graduate if they decide to, pay the bills by, hustling. They're not going to graduate. So let's not pretend that, we don't know what time it is. And you and I know what color skin people we're talking about anyway, and for the most part.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to applaud you. And I don't know you. I don't even know how I came across your page on LinkedIn. I was like, Everybody's always like commenting
Yeah,
on you. On
my
this
my
post.
posts appear on people's timeline, and then yeah, it's just I don't know. I use
Yeah,
the
I'm just like,
hashtags, they pop up on people's timeline.
yeah, and the two words I use everywhere I go is lean in. And I was like, who the heck is this guy? Wait, is that a Nigerian last name?
Yes, it is.
I know, of course, I mean, I know, I'm saying to myself, is that a
Yeah.
Nigerian last name? It's one of us. Um, so anyway, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that we're talking finally. And I this is gonna be crazy, Paul, but I never prepared for any of my shows. Never did. Never. I just come and I just roll with it. So tell me, growing up, which of those things you're fighting for now
Yeah.
did you encounter then?
Um. So yes, my last name is Nigerian. So my dad is Nigerian. My mom was Black American, and so, um, they married in the states, and they met and married in the U.S. And so, I was born in Missouri. So Missouri is like the Midwest, the heartland of the United States. Very,
Mhm.
mostly white, conservative. Some parts Christian. And so my birth name is not Paul. Paul is my maternal granddad's name. And so my birth name is Babatunde Takumbo Paul Ladipo. But growing up in the Midwest, they shortened it to Babs because nobody can say no, they won't say Babatunde. And so they shortened it to Babs. And so and I got to the point, and I felt
Wait,
I
wait,
felt
wait, 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 stop, stop. Are you the Baba Tunde with the TED Talk?
no, no.
There is a Baba Tunde that has this amazing TED Talk. It's about the things that we're talking about.
No, I'm not him. No, no.
Okay. Phew, because
All right. So anyway, so they shortened it to Babs because we're in the Midwest and people can't pronunciate Nigerian names, and so then I felt the need to assimilate, and so like I just had insecurity about my identity, and so I eventually left that school district. And then I stopped liking the name Babs, and so my mom was like, "Why don't you just go by Paul Babs?" And so I did. Um, and so just like being in a place where I felt I needed to assimilate to not stand out, and then like I went to school and graduate school, and I was working an internship as an academic advisor while I was getting my higher ed degree, and a lot of students I saw were of color, were first generation college, and being an academic advisor, my students came to me with what they were facing with their insecurities, their fears, and feeling out of place, and just to do my own reckoning and healing and understanding myself. And so thinking about how I grew up in the West, how I was how I created my identity, who I was, and I'm thinking, wow, I want to do some internal work because there's a lot of people like me who felt like small and marginalized and hiding themselves and don't know what to make sense of racism and whatnot. And so yeah, it was a journey. It was a awakening, a big awakening that took place. I can't give
I
you the
can,
short version, but I can.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know, but no, but we have enough to work with because I have a very indigenous name. My name is Uchenna Ume. I love my name. None of my kids, as you know, have, as a person who has a Nigerian father, we do not mess around with Caucasian names. Now we might have like, yeah, they have oh yeah, oh yeah, your middle name is such and such. Yeah, that's true.
yeah,
That is your middle name, right?
yeah,
But that's not, everybody uses their indigenous names. And so my name is Uche Naomi. So, and it's just like you. It's like, yeah, they're calling, okay, Mary Rose Simmons, Stephanie McCauley,
yeah,
Amanda Stevens. You, I'm gonna mess
yeah,
it.
yeah. I
But I
know.
read it. Oh, you Ch. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna mess up. UCHE. I'm like, so I know, and I didn't grow up in America. But I came in as an adult. I came in for my pediatric residency at Howard HU in the building, right? But I know what it was like as an adult having to deal with that. Every time they call my name, my heart starts beating really fast
yeah,
because they're like, oh, they're gonna stop and they're gonna spell it, or they're gonna tell me, oh, I'm gonna mess up your name.
yeah,
So growing up with heavy name like Babatunde, and I'll say it correctly. Babatunde. Babatunde means, you know what? Okay, what does Babatunde mean?
I think it means does it mean the father returns?
Yes, my father has returned. So it's funny your name is Babatunde because my first child's name, well, first original, let me say birth name was Namdi. Namdi is the Igbo name version of Babatunde. Both of them mean the same thing. My father has returned. And basically, my eldest child was the first assigned male child born in the family after their father died. And that's what it means. So I don't know if that was the same case with you, but usually the child named Babatunde is the first male child after the death of the patriarch. Is a proclamation that this here is my father, or this is my dad that has returned to me, something like that.
Okay.
So the two names are the same. So I know already what, the power of that name for your father. So let me ask you, did you grow up with your dad? If are you able to share about that and how and what is it? What are his thoughts now about the Paul? The fact that,
Well, so yeah, so growing up, so my mom and father married, but there was a lot of cultural clash, like like Nigerian culture is very patriarchal. Black American culture is more matriarchal. Um, Language difference, differences in child rearing, and so it was like cats and dogs, and so they eventually separated when I was divorced when I was 4, and so he was out of my life for a while. He came back in my life in my late 20s, and so, but like he's still in Nigeria. I don't speak Yoruba, and he speaks English, but his accent's really heavy, and so there's a bit of a like a language barrier between us, and so but he and I have reconciled multiple times, and so there's no animosity, but it's just right as of now, like it's a language barrier, and he knows it go by. So he sees my name on Facebook. He knows it goes by Paul, but like I made it clear to him, I don't reject my Nigerian name or heritage. Just that I'm used to Paul. I've been going by that since 5th grade, and it's on my document, so it's just I'm just used to it. So
no, but I
I
love that.
to respond to Babatunde or Babs. So
yeah, no, but I also like that you paid homage or give homage to the fact that you didn't reject. I didn't like. I would never. I love my name. My name means God's will. My name is a beautiful name, and I have a story about my name, how it came about. I made it up, but but that I love that story. I've claimed as my identity. I love my name, but I honestly do not want anybody butchering it. That's why Dr. Lulu came about. And Dr. Lulu is very simple. My first name is Uchenna. My middle name is Lizme. My last name is Ume. So that's already ULU. I just put the other L for lollipops or lesbian or laboratory, whatever you like. So I put so it was a very intentional choice to go with that name. It actually has my name in it. I'm not giving away I love my name. But I don't want people who don't know the meaning of the name, who don't know from whence the name comes, on whose shoulders the name is standing, to just come and just say things like, oh, I'm going to mess up your name. And no. So I'll give you Lulu. Everybody can say that to Lulu. Everybody can say Paul. And then we just move on. But that notwithstanding, I love the story about you and your dad. I love the word animosity. You said there's none. But bring us that child whose parents, when they're separated, which I don't know if you know this, or maybe you know this, like when we're talking about ACEs or adverse childhood experiences, trauma, parental separation or divorce is one of the scores. It's one of the top ones, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
So that child was traumatized already at the age of 4. So bring that child to us. And how much of that child is in today's Paul that writes those beautiful things? Matter of fact, I think when I first saw the picture of equity and equality, it was your post.
Yeah.
The picture with the stool and then the stairs and then the person. It was your post, and I've since made the story mine. Now my idea of equality means give everybody a shirt, and equity means give everybody a shirt that fits.
Yes.
And but I got the first concept from you. So
yeah,
how much of that child is this man today.
Yeah, I mean it's a big motivator because I don't, I don't. I hear stories, from other racially marginalized people, be they Latino or Filipino American or whatever, and it's Chinese American, like stories of them hiding themselves because they wanted to, either they didn't know themselves or they did, but they hid themselves to fit, the mainstream white American ideal. And so it's like, and I did that for so many years. And so one, me losing my dad, but two, growing up in the rural Midwest, it's like I hid myself as much as I could. In fact, I remember coming up even making fun of. We had a kid. I don't know what nationality he was, but he's a kid from Africa in like school, and he had his birth name. And I remember making fun of his name because I was trying to fit in and assimilate, and I think his name was Bulawaga or something. I don't know if that's Yoruba or Igbo or what, but like I remember like poking fun of his name because I was trying to fit in and I was trying to, but he was who he was, I mean, he had an accent, Bulawaga, last name I forgot what it was, I mean, he was Africa, and so I could see it and smell it, and he didn't hide it. And so, and I know that even today, whether it's Black American, like looking down upon another Black person having braids or tattoos, or it's like it's a way we police ourselves because we think that by hiding ourselves we can be more acceptable. And it happens with Black people, with African people, with Asian Americans, with Latino people. It's something that when your mind is colonized, you police other people of color because you have that internalized white supremacy going on. So
I love it. I love it. I love it. And then going back to the child, I was you. I was that. I was you. I was that child who I have a family member. I'm going to stop at that point. Just use the word family, just use the phrase family member who we all suspected of being LGBT when I was younger. And
yeah,
I was the loudest voice that condemned that person.
mm.
I was, and with every condemning word, I was stabbing myself deeper. And I knew that I'm queer. I knew that. And sometimes when I sit down and I think about my kid and I said, if truly karma is a biatch, my child was God's way of saying, there, you thought you could make fun of such and such when you were younger.
Yeah,
Now here's to you. But the truth is, we, like you said, we all want to fit in, and then we all start wearing masks upon masks. Well, I read it this way: masks upon masks upon masks. And at one point, we don't know which mask we are. So, what did it for you? At what point did you now say, "Okay, I'm going to be who I am"? Paul Ladipo. And that's
yeah.
whether you like
Um,
it or not.
think of
What,
a
what
point.
age was that?
Man, I'm trying to think because I'm 42, so
Have questions. I love it when I throw a question that my guests are not expecting. Yes.
um, gosh, when did I do this? If I had to pick one defining moment, I think it was a number of years ago. We were at a retreat from my church, and we actually did a racial reconciliation ordeal. And so we had people apologizing for past and current, mistakes against people. So we had, white people apologizing to Black people, white people apologizing to Asian people, Japanese people apologizing to Korean people, just like, and there were tears, there was
That was good.
celebration,
Yeah.
and it's like, man, I got to be who I am, like it gave me a freedom to forgive myself and forgive others, and just like be who I am. So that was back in 2009.
That is a beautiful story. Just even your church being able to do that. And I know you know this, the Black church really is the Black person in
Yeah,
America. I beg to say that there's no difference between the Black person and the Black church. And that is why bringing the Black church along into LGBTQ plus acceptance to me will be the ultimate success of the Black church.
yeah,
I say this as a Nigerian whose grandfather was not a Christian. So I'm that close to the past, if that makes any sense. I'm 54. But what I was trying to say is my my me today is still close enough to my ancestors to the point that my grandfather was not a Christian. So it's not a long time ago that I had no Christians in my family, if that makes any sense. My dad and his generation were the first Christians in our homestead. So Christianity is relatively new in my family and maybe probably in Nigeria because my grandfather died when I was 13. So it's not a long time ago that he was not a Christian. So just being able to these days, I don't practice Christianity anymore. That's more by choice because of just where I live. I just don't, I see too much hypocrisy going on. I
Yeah,
might come
yeah.
back someday.
Don't get me
But
started on hypocrisy.
I know, but my reason is, anybody can think what they want. Oh, yeah, but you should keep going. No, because it's a distraction. When my youngest was 7, we walk into the pew to sit, and he said, "Mom, why that white man left the thing because of me, or they wouldn't shake his hand, or something." I had enough of that. So I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not taking my kids to a church that they don't even want them at the church. So I decided on my own to leave, and all my kids left before me, but I was the last one to leave.
Yeah.
But I know that the day we can bring the Black church home to accept queer folks, I think
Yeah.
that's the day that the Black church has made it.
I mean,
Yeah,
if
go
I
ahead.
can, I'm sorry, go ahead. I don't want to
No,
interrupt
no,
you.
no, no, go ahead.
If I can be honest, I mean, I think so. The Black church and homophobia and transphobia, I think honestly, again, that's a form of internalized white supremacy because,
It is.
like a lot of these missionaries, Christian missionaries, have gone overseas and have taught homophobia to African people, and so and there are African Christians and there are Black American Christians, but we see prominent white evangelicals in the homophobia and we internalize it,
We see it, yes.
and so like a lot of people don't. A lot of people in the DEI space talk about transphobia and homophobia being white supremacy, and they get confused. I'm like, no, they're right because a lot of these people that don't like Black people also don't like queer people, and they don't like trans people, and so you got to connect the dots. So
You have to connect the dots, and you have to. And the reason I forgot why I brought up my grandfather is that in his days there was no Christianity. I don't know if they were transphobic or homophobic or not, but I do know that in Igbo land, there was a time when women took wives. Now, the story behind it is not clear. We don't know if they took wives for sexual reasons, took wives because they themselves couldn't have children, whatever the reason they took wives, Igbo women took wives.
yeah,
So, and then if you remove the Igbo land, if you go into Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, ancient Africa, there are many, many depictions in walls, in the tombs of same-sex unions. And, as you and I know, the indigenous people of America, they were the sages. They're the two-spirit people. They were the ones who were the leaders. They were supposedly the best of the best, representing the two spirits, both genders, as it were. And it was colonization that came and said, no. Abrahamic religion.
yes.
So, how do you find all of that playing into you still being a Black man and authentic as a Black man? Because, Black men, they're quite homophobic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, even the music I listen to, I think back to the music I listened to is really misogynistic and homophobic. In fact, I remember being in college and a friend of mine who was pretty religious, and she saw the CDs and the names of the artists I listened to. She's like, "Why do you listen to music that's so angry?" And it like a light bulb went off. It's like I like rap, I care about rap, but I don't listen to it as much because I'm careful what I listen to because so much of it is so, despite Black men being oppressed and marginalized, there's in the music, a lot of music, there's so much misogyny, there's so much homophobia, there's so much transphobia. It's like, how are you going to talk about Black Lives Matter and you step on the heads of queer people because queer people are Black too. Black people are queer and queer people are Black. So you aren't really any better than the white oppressors you talk about, So it's
Actually, in many ways, you're worse.
yeah.
And I'll say that as a woman who was born in a country where everyone was black, everyone is black. I can't see the enemy coming. If the enemy in America is Karen or Derek, right?
Yeah,
If I
yeah,
can see them color wise, I can see them in Nigeria. They're all the same. So you're worse because you blend in and then you
yeah.
strike. And this is so good. I'm so happy you're talking about rap music because I grew up listening to rap. But I listened to, yes, and I listened to LL Cool J. I listened to Snoop Dogg. Man, what are you
Yeah,
going to do,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I listened to Queen Latifah. And I see even the women rappers calling themselves bitches and hoes.
Yeah.
I'm a bitch. Or who are you calling a bitch? Or, whatever. I'm just saying, we also take it from our men and then put it
You
on.
realize it.
And put it on. And then when little Nas X comes and wants to drink blood, oh my God,
Yeah,
sprinkle it with holy water.
yeah, yeah. I know. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Lil Nas X, he broke that mold. He's like, you know what?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
He is who he is.
He's not playing. I love him to pieces. I don't listen to his music. I wouldn't know his music if I saw it walking down the street. I just like the fact that he's like, you know what, I'm gonna do this and that's it. And I'm like that in a way. And you are like that in a way. And most of us who decide to break from the mold are like that. And I talked about that today on my interview with Dr. Moya. I said, Harriet Tubman was a rebel. Jesus was a rebel.
Mhm.
These people they were not popular because they conformed. They were popular because they did not conform. Jesus was killed because he was not conforming.
Even MLK. I mean, white people like to paint MLK as this nice, docile, and like, no, he was actually a radical. And
He
my
was
mother,
the final rebel.
yeah, I mean, my mother told me like she grew up during the civil rights movement. She was 15 when he was assassinated, and she was like they hated Martin Luther
They
King,
hated him.
and so when people whitewash MLK like he was this beloved gentle Ben, I'm like, no, he was not. White people couldn't stand him, and a lot of black people backed off because they didn't want the smoke that he got. And so Martin Luther King was a rebel, and a lot of people they misquote him or they use his stuff out of context. I'm like, and people that do this, I'm like, you would not like him if you actually met him and if you actually read his stuff. You would not. You'd be the person now that would have killed him 50 some odd years.
Yes. I say that about today's Christian.
Yeah.
That they will be the ones to actually assassinate Jesus today. Because Jesus will hang out with the same people he hung out with then. The queers, the misfits, the homeless.
The sex workers.
Yes, the sex workers, which is, hello, we know he hung out with a whole doggone tax collector, okay? Yes. A sex worker. He sure did,
Yeah.
All of the people he called as his friends were not the people who were like the foremost of the society.
Yeah.
And those are the things that make us go, And we should ask ourselves, why are we thinking that Jesus was this nice, conforming young man?
No, white Jesus.
No, he was not.
He was not white. He was in the Middle East. He was brown. He was this white man with blonde hair and blue eyes. Like, no.
Yes. They don't like brown people today. They will have not liked Jesus today. So we are just all feeding each other lies, and only a few of us are bold enough to say, I'm done eating this model of shit. I don't want it anymore. So, and then you're like, wait, you. I want us to just kind of bring it down to the work that you do now. So with regards to creating space, because I just love your posts. I don't see them as much, but I love every time I see them, there's like thousands of comments. I'm like, oh my God. But I love the way your brain works. I love that. So how would you, because that's kind of the work you already do, how would you, because this show really talks about creating safe spaces for queer folks or the misfits of the society. So how would you advise, if I may use that word, which I don't like using, but how would you advise queer people, not queer people, organizations today, how could they even begin creating safe spaces for Black, queer, immigrant, Muslim, all of those intersectional factors, brown, of course, that are not cis white mediocre man?
I would say, so I think fight the urge to just hire people. So yes, we need to hire diverse people, but I think that a lot of people think, okay, let's just hire some black and hire some queer and hire some whoever. And what you've done is you invite them into spaces. You've invited black people into white supremacist spaces. You've invited queer people into homophobic and transphobic spaces. You've invited Muslim people to Islamophobic spaces. So really, you need to do the internal work of understanding biases and how they impact people before you get them there. Because once you get them there and you invite them into a space that's not safe for them, they're not going to do well. And so, and that's because either because they're going to leave because they feel uncomfortable, or they're going to make a mistake, or maybe not make a mistake, but the boss supervisor is has some biases, and that affects that worker, and then they leave. And so, I'm like, you know what? Hire all the black people you want to. If you don't understand racism or sexism or whatever, you're just setting them up to fail in the long run. And so, and what I've also noticed is that a lot of times places will have black employees, but they don't move up. They stay
Yes.
at the bottom. So you have them there, but they don't advance. So which is not good either. So
Yes. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for you to say that. There's no point hiring me as your token black. Oh yeah, we got a black woman. Where's Shaniqua? Shaniqua, come out,
yeah,
And then Shaniqua comes out, but she's been in the same cubicle for 4 years, you
and she's
know?
probably more educated than everyone else, and then including her boss, because black women are some of the most highly educated work employees in the market. So
Well, you know that there was that study that came out, right? There are two studies. The first one was that the black woman in America, any black woman, but the black woman in America is the most educated person in America.
yeah.
But then the second study was that Nigerians are the most educated people in the world. So who am I again? Okay, so I'm just saying, but it's true. I'm just saying, but it's true because when my last official job that I worked in a clinic here, one of the reasons I left was because I was I was at 136% productivity every month. It was sustained. The other gentleman was at 101 or something. But guess who was getting paid more?
The Nigerian man.
Yeah, and and he's not black. He's not a black woman. But the point I'm trying to make is we in Nigeria there's this new thing. I don't know if you know this, but there's this new thing in Nigeria that the new saying "our mumu don't do." Our mumu don't do means our foolishness is enough, like enough already. You know,
Yeah.
I would rather, and then, when I the day I turned in my resignation, he was like, "Oh my God, if you ever need a job, you're always welcome here," and all that. And I was like, "Yeah, I get it, but if I need to if I come in, then I need to come with all of the trimmings, and you can't offer me that. You can't offer me that. So I think that's why I wanted to ask you. So the first thing they need to do is do the internal work. I love that. And
Yeah.
what else could they be doing?
Let's see. Like I think so. Doing the internal work, I think honestly, hire an external consultant. And when I say this, I mean
Mm,
I also say that I'm not bragging on myself or saying, "Hey, hire me, everybody." What I'm saying is, a lot of times in-house DEI people won't tell the truth because they don't want to lose their job because DEI is hard and ideally, if your DEI is working, it's making people feel uncomfortable and challenging people. And sometimes, a lot of times, internal DEI staff or departments won't open up about mistakes because they don't want to lose their job. They don't want to go through the drama. And so they'll stay quiet. They'll work all the smoke and mirrors. And so if you really want to know what's going on, do the internal work, hire a DEI consultant to be honest with you that can make you uncomfortable so you can continue doing that work after he or she or they is gone. Have somebody look at your policies in terms of dress code and hair code, and are they discriminatory? Because we know that black women's hair is policed heavily. Ethnic garb, things like that. Um,
ethnic what? Sorry, that's a new one for
sorry,
me.
ethnic garb or ethnic clothing. So like,
Okay, okay, yes,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
and so
yes.
things like that. Just have your HR people undergo unconscious bias training because that ethnic sounding names often don't get calls. Things like that, and it's just it can become a headache. And so do
Yeah.
the internal work, hire an external consultant to help you do the internal work. Uh, think about, okay, in your organization, who's there, who's not there. Don't fill people for the sake of checking boxes, but realize that, okay, if this best candidate is a black woman, fine. If not, fine. But like, let's not overlook this black woman candidate that has already been overlooked so many times before, and when people come into the organization, do they move up? Do they stay? Do they stay where they are? What's our criteria for moving up? Is it productivity? Is it employee evaluations or whatever? Things like that. So you just got to look at your policies and how you do business and how business has been done. And yeah, I mean, it should be an overhaul, really.
I love it. And you know what? This on Queer Wednesday Wisdom. I usually have queer people. I think you're one of the maybe couple of non-queer people that I know of, because I don't know if you're queer or not. I didn't ask you. It doesn't matter. But I'm saying that for a reason. This is the first time anyone, because I've usually asked them the same question. So how do we create safe spaces? This is the first time anyone is saying hire an external consultant. Because usually the people I'm talking to are queer people themselves. And they too say, they talk about, overhauling and looking at their criteria and the policies and all that. But you're right. An independent person. I'm going to get paid. I'm going to come, do my work.
Whether you like me or not.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that because growth is always uncomfortable. So yeah, you're right. And you're right. If you do the audit from inside, it's not gonna work. Yeah.
They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to lose their standing, but they also may not notice, because sometimes when you're in an environment so long, it's easy to overlook. But when you have that third person point of view, you can be like, aha, and so there's a number of reasons. So
I love it. No. Love it. And I know you said you were going to leave, and I promised I was going to get you out of here. But before I let you go, can you tell us, is there anything else that we left out? I don't know. This is a whole series. Really, I should do a DEI series. But this is a whole series. And but you've already planted the seeds. And like I always say, the seeds, some are going to fall on fertile ground, some are going to fall on the rocks, some are going to be picked up by birds. But some of them will definitely yield fruit. So I know somebody today will have heard, that was beautiful, Dr. Lulu. I like that. But, so just to summarize, just maybe, I don't know, for whoever is listening out there, and of course, how they can find you, because, yeah, I know people say, exposure, but this is, like I said, the first time I've heard that hire an external I never thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, look me up on, look me up on LinkedIn. Basically, if you're thinking about external consultants, just follow DEI people. So like if you look up like DEI people on LinkedIn or Google, or better yet, if you're on LinkedIn, like put hashtag anti-racism, hashtag DEI, people's posts come up, and you can follow people, connect with people, and if you look at their profiles, they'll usually tell you if they're a consultant or not. And so really, if you just follow those hashtags, you can see posts from myself and my colleagues, and you have your pick of the litter. If you want one or multiple, many of us, or two of us, or me now, somebody else later, or whatever. I mean, there's ways to find this.
I love it. So did you get like a formal DEI certification, or was it just lived experience, or a little bit of both?
I don't have a certificate, but I use my life experience plus.
Yes,
I've been doing it for a while, and so like I'm not a fan of certificates because it's credentialism, and I feel like credentialism can be racist or is racist and sexist, and so I'm like, I don't need to pay $6,000 to get a certificate to tell me train people. I'm like, I've been doing
Say that again for those at the back. Yes. I do not need to be trained as anything because it's my lived experience. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, plus my education, plus whatever,
Yeah. So how can the people find you then on a more formal note?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to type my name in LinkedIn, I'm there. I mean, I don't have any buffers, and so type my first and last name in the search bar on LinkedIn, and there I am. You can either follow me, connect with me. Look at on my profile page. I have my website. If you want to look at what I offer in terms of consulting, you can do that. And so, I try to get back to people in a reasonable amount of time with questions or whatever. And so,
You're getting some love too. You're getting some love, but also I just wanted to write your name just because I think it's important. So that's your name on LinkedIn. Thank you so much, Paul. And I might say this too for all it's worth. You are also easy to reach, and you actually do respond, because I was afraid. I was like, oh my God, and I need to stop doing that. Like, oh my God, are they going to respond? Are they going? The person that's going to respond is going to respond, and then you responded without, like, oh, I'll come. I'm like, what? Okay, so thank you so much, Paul, for coming. So where do you live? I don't know. Can you?
I'm in Minneapolis.
So okay. Oh, so are you by Minnesota, wherever the thing happened?
Yeah. So I moved here in 2020. I moved here like 2 months before George Floyd was killed.
No way!
Yeah, and so I remember that day he was killed. I was working because I do retail on the side to supplement my income, and so I was working that day, and then like I think some people were talking about a video that was going around. And then I got home, and then my wife was like, "Did you hear about this?" I'm like, "Sort of. What happened?" And then like I heard about them shutting down and people leaving work because there was going to be a riot. But then like the media got a hold of it. And it's like, you know what? Yes, there was rioting, but like the city didn't burn down, because people were like, oh, racist Black people burned all the cities down. I'm like, no, they did not. I live here in Minneapolis. Minneapolis did not burn to the ground. That's media BS. And so those of us who live in big cities know that our cities did not burn down. There were some fires, there was some smashing, but that was mainly by bystanders, not Black Lives Matter. And so when I hear people talk all that trash about BLM killing cops and burning whole cities down, like, I already know that you're full of it, because you don't know. You weren't here. I was here.
When I hear words like, when I hear I just say two things: Emmett Till.
Yeah,
that's it. I mean, I say it and I walk away. I beg your pardon? Yeah, Emmett Till. Look it up. That's
it.
Yeah. And then you know that I don't care, But thank you so much, Paul. Oh my God, this has been so good. Like I said, I didn't plan anything, because it's best that way. For me, I feel like it's best that way. We're just telling stories. We're just talking about lived experiences. We're letting people know that we are here. We're not going anywhere. No. And you take it or leave it. And we just keep coming back. Black people just keep coming back like black ants. We do not. You can't. I don't care how many of us. Yeah. There's more of us. And I say that about LGBT people. I said, if you gathered all the queer people today and burned all of us in the big old furnace, 10 months later, 9 months later, and 40 weeks, new one will be born, because straight people give birth to queer people. So my name is Dr. Lulu. It has been amazing. Paul, you are as good as gold. I appreciate you for coming today. Yeah. I will be coming. Find me a conference in freaking Minneapolis so I could come and show out and cook some jollof rice for you and your wife. Yeah. So I'm going to come to Minneapolis. I'm going to look for an LGBT conference in Minneapolis, and I'm going to come.
Okay, please let me know. We'll show you around, and we'll talk, and we'll reconnect, and
we'll go live together.
We'll have that Nigerian connection. So
yes. All right, everyone. My name is Dr. Lulu. Join me again next week, Wednesday, for another episode of Qweer Wednesday Wisdom. If there's a guest, I'll be here. If there's no guest, I won't be here. So just go mind your business and be nice to each other. And remember, queer folks are queer as ever. We're not going anywhere. You might as well get used to us, because you can't get rid of us. On that note, thank you so much, Paul. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Everyone else, someone else is giving you some love here. I don't know who. I follow you a lot of your company. Oh, thank you so much. Oh, they're talking to me. Oh, well. Well, thank you so much. All right, Paul. Take care. Bye. Bye.